Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Authors Allies podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Pachorik, and today's guest is pure magic. I am joined by Sue Penney Bergman, also known as the Joyful Oracle. With over 30 years in education and a decade as the Chief Inspiration Officer of Learning is Contagious, Sue now pours her gifts into helping people tune in to their intuition, uncover their soul superpowers, and truly write from the heart. Her energy is vibrant, her wisdom is soulful, and I just know you're going to love this conversation about trusting your vibes, channeling your truth, and infusing more joy into everything you do. Let's dive in. Sue, I'm so happy you're here. Aw, thank you. My friend chat helped me a little.
Hey, we got to use the tools, right? That's
You
great.
know, I've done several episodes about that. And yes, I'm all about using all the tools to make it easier. And we're on Riverside right now. So that is great because it helps me to be able to produce a lot more quickly. So yeah, I'm so excited to have you here. I have to tell a little story though before I ask you the questions. So I want to let the listeners know how I knew you were the real thing. So the first time that I met you, right? We all meet each other online per se. I had jumped into a call you were doing and you were doing some live card pulls and you pulled a card for me and it was the woo is real, I think is what it said. And you talked about my love for crystals, which had just started, which was really interesting. I was like, how did she know that? How did she know these things? It was the craziest thing. And then as we got talking more, I realized that we had so much in common, you know, when it comes to all the woo. And then when you did that past life reading for me, holy guacamole. Like you guys, Sue, somehow it came through you, some of these things that there is no way that you would know I was doing. Like, particularly, you said something about me being the one, and I was literally in a class that day called The One. Like, just the craziest. I'm getting chills again just thinking about it. But it was just so cool. And I thought, oh my gosh, I have to get her on the show. And the more I know about you, the more I learn about you, the more excited I am to have you share with our listeners because I think they're just really, they're really going to enjoy hearing from you. And, you know, what you're doing is so cool because one, the world needs that right now, right? Like we all need to tap into our hearts, tap into our inner soul and our intuition so much more because it's just such a crazy place right now. But I know that you know, you have done so much and I know you just came off of a retreat, so you're probably still feeling all the buzz from that. Um, but like how how in the world did you even know you had this intuitive gift? Like what happened for you to first realize this? Because you call yourself the Joyful Oracle and it's Joy and Co. So I'm
Yes,
sure the co has something to do with
it
how you
does.
figured this out.
It does. It does. That's a fun question. So, um, I would have to say, ever since I was a kid, like a
Mm-hmm.
young kid, maybe middle school, I always felt tapped into my intuition, and I
Oh,
really
okay.
tried to trust it to make decisions. And sometimes, certainly, I didn't.
Oh,
But I tried to focus on that. And
okay.
the first experience that I had with this writing, which I will get into the name of it and all that in a little bit. The first experience I had was through a college course that I was taking, and it was a 3 day intensive course where we were living together at this beautiful resort. And
Wow.
the last class the last part of the class, I should say, was we've spent the whole weekend getting to know each other. It was a 3 day thing. And the teacher said, okay, I want you to grab a piece of paper. I'm going to take you through this guided visualization, and I just want you to allow whatever comes out.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, I don't know what that means, but whatever.
Right? You're in college, right? Or high school. We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
I mean, the class was transpersonal psychology, so there was
Wow. Okay.
definitely a lot of
Yeah.
it was building throughout the course of the weekend, and everything that she was doing was preparing us for this moment. And so she said, I just want you to trust it. And so I remember I was sitting on this couch, and she brought us through the visualization, and she said, now I want you to write dear and your name and then allow what comes through. And so I
Okay.
wrote, Dear Sue, And then it started with everything is going to be okay. And it started talking like the message I received was about all this different stuff that was going on in my life at that time. But it
Okay.
was as if someone was talking to me and not my own thoughts.
Wow.
And I didn't know where it was coming from. And I can remember, I just got the chills right now. I can remember getting chills on
Mhm.
my forearms as it was coming through. And when I finished, I stopped. And it's funny because I don't even remember how the letter ended, if it was signed "Love Me." I don't recall. But I remember looking at it and reading, and I just started crying. And I
Oh,
thought, oh my God, what is this? I don't know what this is. And it kind of freaked me out. So much
sure.
so that I did not do it again for 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was a big old gap in between because I just eventually I think I passed it off.
Right.
Even though I knew it was
Right.
something,
Right.
it freaked me out a bit. And the next
Sure.
experience was, if you've ever heard of Omega in Reinhold, New York, it's a retreat center, and I had the opportunity to go there. And it was the same scenario where we'd been together for the weekend, and one of the last activities was this writing a letter to yourself. And that is when I discovered and learned that my superpower is light. I didn't
Light.
even know what that meant.
Okay.
And so good old Google helped me.
Well, at least we had Google back then.
We did. We did. Yeah, I went to this retreat center called Omega
Uh-huh.
in Reinhold, New York, and again it was a weekend of building all of this intentional
Wow.
experience into this last piece, which was writing. And what came through was the most loving, gorgeous visualization of these angel wings, and they were shimmering
Wow.
over this pond that it was Omega, but it was I could see it in my mind, and the message that came through was all about me being cloaked in light, and that I always that the gift for me was a feather, so that I could choose to stay and endure whatever the situation was, or know that I could always fly away. And it was just really powerful.
Wow.
And that
Yeah.
is when I embraced it. I embraced the light once I discovered what it was. I thought, well, like maybe it's positive energy. I don't know. And so I dug in, and every single next step was leading me down this path. So when I Googled, I got Rebecca Campbell. Have you ever read anything by her?
Yes. Yes.
So
I
Light
just
is the New
talked about her
Black.
yesterday. Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Beautiful.
I'm
So
pretty sure I read that one. Yeah.
Light is the New Black.
Yeah.
I read that book and I felt like she wrote it for me
Yes. I love
personally.
her.
So that really helped guide me down this path. And so I started picking up my pen more and more, and just allowing what came through. And I have a
Wow.
bunch of different techniques to do that, because we do get in our head about things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And over the
So much.
course of, what was that? Probably 2016. So over the course of the
Okay.
last 9 years,
Yeah.
I've really embraced it, with not having to go through a process or meditating or any of the tips and tricks that I teach others now. Now I can just tune in. It's really like a radio station. And
Wow.
over the course of this writing, when I was doing it as a letter, when I was writing as if it's a letter to myself, these messages would come through. They started getting signed love us, capital US. And I said, I feel like, in my head, I feel like us means something.
Right.
And so I asked, I said, I realized it was a collective of some sort that I was writing with.
Okay.
Over time, it became very clear. And us stands for United Source. I know.
Oh, I just totally got the chill. So it
I know.
wasn't even like us as in your spirit guides.
No,
It actually had its own name.
correct. So that
Wow.
was
I don't think I
really
knew that,
exciting.
or I
That
forgot
was
that. That's
No, I don't
cool.
think I shared that part, because then it continues to evolve.
Oh my
It continues
goodness. That's so
to
neat.
evolve. So I would get us a lot, us a lot.
Okay.
Um, and so, because we all have higher selves, we have that part of ourselves that is connected to all.
Mhm.
One of the things that I teach people is, when you ask your higher self its name, or you give it a name, then you can converse with that part of you like a friend, like a BFF.
Wow.
It's
That
very
is so
intimate.
neat. Yeah.
And so my higher self's name is Joy. And so I
Okay.
started writing, and I would get love, joy, love, joy, love, joy, as if we're having this beautiful conversation. And then all of a sudden I started to get Love, Joy, and Co. And I knew the Co
Ah,
wasn't for company.
okay.
And so I said, what does the Co stand for? And it's Joy and the Collective Oracle. And that was another total full body chills moment.
Yes,
My
it's
gosh.
happened again to me.
Total full body chills. And then
That's
it's like, what do I
excellent.
do with this? Who can I talk to
Right,
about this? Oh my
right,
gosh. I knew I wasn't crazy.
right.
So, so I've really embraced it, and
Yeah,
I shifted from asking questions. Some of the dialogue is set up like a letter. Some of it's a Q&A like this, like
okay.
what we're doing
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
And so I shifted from asking just things about myself
okay.
to asking for things to share with the collective, with the sisterhood, with the world.
Sure. I love
And
that.
so that's what's that's what's been coming through the last couple of years.
Wow. So the last couple of years, it's been more of sharing like other people's stories and stuff that are coming through. Is that what you're saying? Like it's,
Um,
originally was more about you and now it's kind of more about
it's it's
everyone.
it's more a message for everyone.
I love
So
that.
it's so one of the messages that I'll share today, it is for all of us. When I ask, can I have a message for the collective, meaning whoever needs to hear it, whoever needs to see it and read it, and I trust that that message is going to get delivered to them in some way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. I know that, and I'm pretty much already thinking I'm throwing some of my other questions out the window because you get me thinking. All this intuitive stuff comes through, and then my brain, starts doing the same thing. When I think about what you were just saying and all those things, that are happening to you, one of the things that I know you teach a lot is, trust in your vibe, trust your vibe. And so how are you teaching people to do that? I know like you have various programs. How do you teach people to do that themselves? Does that make
That's a great
sense?
question. That's a great question because there is a difference between intuition and your spirit team.
Really?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. I kind of always thought they were sort of the same, or that maybe the
Well,
spirit team
in
guides your
in the
intuition.
big picture,
Okay.
yes, we are all because
Okay.
we're all one. As much
Okay.
as sometimes we don't want to admit it,
Right.
but yeah, there is a difference,
Okay.
and so the helping people to trust their intuition and their vibes is a different experience than helping people to connect with their spirit guides and their team and their angels and their loved ones and that kind of thing. And
Okay.
so, with the trust your vibes and tuning into your intuition, I do that in many different ways. But one of the ways that I do it is I use a card deck.
Yeah.
And the card reading experience that I give people is it's collaborative.
Okay.
And so it's a 3 card spread, and I have them pull it, or if it's virtual, I would say to you, tell me when to stop shuffling. Do you want
Oh,
the
okay.
top or the bottom card, the right or left hand, that kind of thing. And so you're picking your cards, even though my hands are picking them. But you'll always get what you need because of magnetic resonance. That's just you're always gonna align with the card that you need, not necessarily the card that you want. And
Yes.
that's a funny thing about the universe.
Right. It has a sense of humor for sure.
Oh,
For
absolutely.
sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So, so my favorite spread that's very popular is the first card is all about your approach, attitude, or frame of mind about the situation you're inquiring. So, I ask people at the beginning because my background is education. I do a fill in the blank and I say, fill
Yes.
in this blank. What would be helpful for me to know about blank? And they say my marriage or a situation at work or my kid and they can keep it general or they can keep it more specific, whatever they're comfortable with. So they fill in the blank. The first card is about the attitude, approach, or frame of mind. The second card is about how to raise your vibration with the
Ooh.
situation. And the
Okay.
third card is what you may be overlooking.
Oh, I love that. So you're really in asking those questions, you're really getting them to dig deeper by
Right.
using
So,
that.
right. So we look at it through 3 different lenses. So the first lens is, that expression, give them a fish or teach them to fish. And because I'm a teacher, I want to
Yeah.
teach everybody to fish.
Okay.
So part of it is teaching them to fish, and the other part is me giving it to them. So their lens is always the first. They will, I'll talk to them about where in your body, when you just know, you just, I knew that was going
Yeah.
to happen. Where do you feel it physically? So some people say throat or shoulder or heart or gut, literally their gut, whole body. So I'll have them identify it and then put their hand on that place to help them focus on answering from a place of inner knowing and intuition,
Mm.
and not the cerebral place that wants to interpret everything.
And that's
Because
hard. That's
it
hard for
is hard.
people to do because,
It
yeah,
is.
I know that was something that took me. I mean, I'm still practicing, and I've been
Yes.
doing it for a couple of years now.
I think life is just practice. Life
Yeah,
is every moment is
absolutely.
practice.
I
And
agree.
so so they have their hand on, let's say it's the heart, and they look at the card, because if it's virtual, I will message them. I'll send them the card. I'll either text it or send it through Messenger so they
Okay.
can actually look at it very
Right. So
closely.
you're looking at
And
it together.
I say just honor the first thing that comes through, because the first thing is intuition and the second thing is your brain. So
Ah, okay.
intuition
Yep,
is
that
always
makes sense.
first,
That
right?
makes sense. Okay.
And so they look and they say, well, I feel like this is like, I have to make a decision about which path I want to choose, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll say, like, is that an apple, Sue? And in the picture, and I'll say, well, do you think it is? And they say, well, it looks like an apple. And I said, then it is. Because the cards I use for this are they're gorgeous, and they leave it open for interpretation to
Okay.
be something. It doesn't look like traditional, which is really cool. So we go through that process. They answer what's coming up for them,
Okay.
and then I take a turn. Once in a while, so I'll say, "Do you want me to go? Do you want me to tell you what's coming up for me?" Once in a while, someone will say, "Oh, I'm good." And that's the
Really?
best. It's the
I
best
love that.
because they got exactly what they needed in that
Okay.
moment. So then I'll take my turn, because most people are curious. I'll share
Right.
what's coming up for me. And then there's a guidebook that comes with the card deck. Most card decks have it, that
Right.
might give additional perspectives of
Okay.
something we haven't considered. And it may or may not resonate, but sometimes people want to hear that too. And so we do this technique with each of those three cards.
Okay. Okay.
And by the end, I ask them, tell the story of the cards. Like, take a look at the cards. What do you like? What's coming through as a story? How are they telling you a story right now? And they do. People just look and say, "Oh yeah, it's all connected." The whole
Wow.
picture is connected.
I love that. Do you always use the same cards?
I
Because
don't
the
always use the same cards, but I do
okay.
love, love, love my original deck that I was the first deck I ever bought back in it was probably 2007 or 8. I don't even remember. And it's not even in print anymore, which stinks because I want to be able to direct
Wait.
the
Tell me
cards.
the name. Is that the Sonia?
Yeah, the
Sonia?
Trust Your Vibes card.
Okay.
So she has her original, which was
Okay.
back in whenever, the early 2000s.
Right.
She did just release an updated version of that deck called Trust Your Vibes still. The art is different and some of the card meanings are different. I bought that, well, actually someone gifted it to me. So I have
Okay.
that deck too, and I use that one as well. And I do use others, like I have like I've Ask Your
Yes.
Guides.
I have
I
such
have
a
probably
stack over
30
here.
decks. What's that?
I have a stack as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just whatever I'm feeling, but truly that particular experience,
That deck is just you, right? Like it is
it
your
just feels, I still feel so connected to it because
yes.
it's been with me all along, and it really leaves everything open to interpretation, because truly if you and I were pulling cards together right now, your interpretation of each card would be different than mine if I was focusing on me and you were focusing on you. And that's what's really cool.
I do love that. And I love that deck, the couple of times that you like that first card pull, and then when I bought I think a one card pull maybe once too. And you would use that deck. And I have found it a couple of times. And now that we're talking about this, I have to go actually finally buy it.
It's on eBay.
Um
Yeah, it's
on
just a
eBay. And I was scared to do that. And I think I consulted with you about that too, that I was scared to get a used deck. But it sounds like if I can cleanse the deck and just really get my own vibes infused into it, that it would be fine. Because, like you, I have to resonate with the art. Like, I feel like I have to be able to look at the art and know a story. Colette Baron Reed has some really
Yes.
cool card decks. The Dream Weavers was the very first deck I ever used or got, and I feel like it reminds me of Sonya's, and I think they're actually friends.
Yes, I think
Um,
so too.
I think so, and it reminds me of that. I mean, it's different types of art, you know what I mean? But it reminds me of what you said, how you could see someone go, "Is that an apple?" Well, if you think it's an apple, it is, right? If it's true for you, it's true. And so I love that so much. And thinking about the story of how, you will do that for someone, and then thinking about the fact of the way that your writing comes through, is that a and now I see, like, I don't even have, like, you perfectly explained how your education background really does, like,
Mm.
you're using that every day, right? Like,
Every
you're
minute.
using that every
Yeah.
minute of every
Yeah.
day in everything that you're doing. So when you're pulling those cards for other people, and let's say we did one of those 3 card spreads, is that then a great opportunity if we did one of those and then I sat down to journal about it? Is that a good way to, like, kick off a practice like that, or, like, pulling one card at a time? Does the things that you're teaching, do the things you're teaching them through those types of things, is that also inspiring that writing
Yes,
process that you're
absolutely.
talking
You're
about?
right. You nailed it. So I have many different techniques and ways for people to go inward, because
Okay.
that's really that's where it all
Yeah.
is. You started this session with this concept of, like, the world. There's a lot of noise going on right now,
Oh my
both in
god,
our
so much.
families, in our communities, in the world, and so the answers are all within. And if we're a person that isn't familiar with within, or
Mhm.
comfortable with within, like, these are just baby steps, like tiny little baby steps that you can take to help you feel more comfortable and tune into that part of you. And so one of the techniques I use, absolutely, is card decks. And I will say, ask yourself, when you pull, um, what would be helpful for me to know right now? Keep it
That's usually
broad,
what
so
I
not a
do.
yes
Yeah.
or no question. Not
Okay.
not a yes or no. Like, there are card decks out there that have yes or no, but I usually stay away from them because I feel like there's always learning beyond a yes or a no. And
Yeah.
so I will share to look at the card and see and feel what's coming up for you. And then I have lists upon lists of different prompts, which I call
Oh, okay.
soul scribing prompts. So,
I
so
love
uh, when this all came
that.
through me, one of the biggest messages that I received when I really started writing, it was at the beginning of the writing back in 2016, um, that Spirit told me to create a course called Write from the Heart to help people um, hear, hear and speak and live their truth. Back then, I'm like, what does this even mean? What the heck is this? I don't know
Right?
any of
Right.
this. I'm like, oh, I don't know what this is. And there was continued about, we collectively, meaning me as well, chose this time and place for me to be here to teach this. And
Right.
I thought, well, it makes sense because I have all this education and background, but what the heck is this process? Like, and so over time,
How do I do that?
exactly, exactly. So over time, it's been a dialogue, and I will have that conversation with Spirit and say, well, what else do I need to consider? What am I overlooking? And what about this? And so the process has come through them and me. So it's collaborative, which is beautiful. And so which was what I was going to say. So the course is right from the heart, and the book is right from the heart.
Okay.
And I know the word writing can intimidate people. I'm sure
Mhm.
you know that too, based on what you do for a living.
Absolutely.
And so just hearing that, sometimes people freak out. So I said to Spirit, this was back in January, I said, what else can I call it that would be more engaging or interesting, that would, like, alleviate some of that anxiety for people?
Right.
And ready, it's called
Pressure.
soul scribing.
I
Soul
love it.
scribing.
I just got the chills again, which is hard because I just drank hot coffee. How the heck do I get chills when I'm drinking hot coffee? I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it
So
so much.
that was
I
such an
really do.
aha. And I went, oh I did the same thing. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. So one of the workshops at the course, is called Right from the Heart, the Art of Soul Scribing, when your pen becomes a magic wand.
That goes right along with all of my boho branding. It's perfect.
Yay!
I know, and I really need to take one of those classes. I so want to take one of them.
There's one coming up in just a couple of weeks, a couple of Wednesdays.
Yep. Yay! Well, it is intimidating. When you think about writing, even authors that have written a million books, they still get intimidated thinking about that because so much like writer's block stuff, right?
Right. And so I'll tell you a little secret. So one of the tips to getting out of your head, well, I have a bunch, obviously, that I teach in the course and I teach in the workshop. Sure. So the tip is, as wild as it may sound, is to write with your non-dominant hand. And it is a hot mess for a lot of us.
Okay, good, because my regular writing's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess. And so by writing with your non-dominant hand, and this is actually something I heard, I think it might have been Colette Baron Reed, since we were talking about it earlier. Yeah. It might have been from her. I don't remember where I heard it, but when you do that, you are shifting from your left brain, which is the organized and controlling, and to your right brain, which is more creative and self-expression. And so I'll give you the second tip. The first tip is to write with your non-dominant hand. You don't have to. You certainly can try it, but what comes through, it takes longer, but it seems like it opens a little channel or a little portal to allow that to come through. However, you can do this next tip in conjunction with what I just said, or you can totally do it on its own. I'm going to actually show you. This is one of the tips that Spirit gave me, that Joy & Co gave me. They said, when you teach this, teach people to write. I'm going to do it right now so you can see it, right? So the tip is to write on a diagonal. And
that is crazy.
And the reasons are, which they told me, but I also knew part of it, teacher-wise, is again, we have learned, we teach kids, we have taught everyone to stay on the line, and the H goes up high and the G drops down low. And so the lines are literally so linear that we have certain expectations when we're writing on the line, and not having any lines and shifting and just using computer paper or a blank journal and just shifting it a little bit not only helps us drop into that artistic side of our brain, but also, if you take a look at it, what I received was, it's like from grounding to spirit. So it starts down lower. So grounding would be the grounding moment here, and then the writing is like almost going through the chakras, right? If I went like that, we've got root. So all the way up. So it's like from grounding. So it's from root to crown.
That is interesting. And for anyone who's just listening, I will put, we'll have some photos and stuff of this so that you can see, but that writing from left to right still is great. And the fact that you're writing on the diagonal like that, though, did your teacher brain just go crazy when you first heard this?
When I received that in my writing, no, I loved it. I loved it because I write like that a lot anyway. And so let me bring this full circle to you. What I realized was it's right here. Hot diggity dog. Hopefully I tucked it back in. When I was going through my paperwork from that retreat at Omega, and I was looking for the message that I had told you about. Is this it? I wrote. That's how I wrote. It was diagonal message back in 2016. I had no idea. No, it looks like I don't have it, but that's okay. Yeah, the whole message was diagonal, and I went, I known it all along. I felt like Dorothy with the shoes, like the power was in me all along.
That's funny, because I have noticed that if I use a blank piece of paper, I intuitively write like that. I always write sideways on a blank piece, like diagonally on a blank piece of paper. Like I'll even sit, like turn. I don't know what that. I wonder if that's. Oh my gosh, my whole face just froze when I was saying that. Like, I think that's spirit probably telling me like that, because it is such a different experience when you're writing, when you're doing that, than when you're writing on a piece of paper with lines.
Absolutely. Yeah, because
But
we have
like the
been
whole
trained.
experience feels different.
We've been
That's
trained to do
amazing.
things a certain way, and when we open up to try something different, it
That is
allows
so
that
cool.
opening to, come through.
That is amazing. So if an author listening to this has writer's block, do you think that that's something that would help them to potentially, instead of trying to like do what they normally do, to get out a piece of paper and just try to do something like that? Or to
Yes.
pull a card, or
And
like,
yes, so I have a couple of thoughts on that.
yeah.
I think if somebody's having writer's block, the first thing is to just step away. Step away
Yes.
from it for a moment and go move, because
Okay.
emotions need motion. And so when we're
Okay.
having frustration or anxiety or worry about why can't I write, and because whatever the writer's block is, there's emotions that go through it or that go with it. And so to
That
get
makes
up and
sense.
to go move, to go for a walk, to go outside, to like march around your house, have a 2-minute dance party in your kitchen, whatever the
Yes.
case may be, and then come back. And then,
Okay.
yeah, I definitely think writing diagonally and writing diagonally, but also just asking for guidance. And that's the thing. Our teams, everyone's got a whole team. And whether you feel like your team is God and Jesus and angels, or whether you feel that your team is your loved ones who have passed, or whether your
Sure.
team is animals or spirit guides of some kind, whatever the
Right.
case may be, ask them to
Whoever
help.
your team is. Yeah.
Whoever your
Okay.
team is, because we all have one, we are so fully supported. There has to be an ask. They have to be
Mm,
asked because we have free will. So if we want
I love that.
intervention, it needs to be from a place of gratitude. So I will say, like today, I'll tell you, I said, okay, Joy and Co., I have an intention for all of the words and during this podcast to flow right through me so that everyone gets what they need from this podcast, including me.
Mm, I
Right?
love that.
So I set the intention, and then I said, thank you ahead of time. I know you're always with me because I have full trust. So part of it
Mm,
is the building of the relationship with the guides and trusting them, trusting our intuition, which,
yeah.
let's face it, when we don't, it doesn't go well
Disaster.
quickly, right? Things don't go well.
Right. Yes.
And then so trusting our team, trusting ourselves, our intuition, and then allowing whatever it is to come through.
Mm.
And that's the part when we're doing soul scribing that people go, huh? But what I have to tell you is Rebecca, that I feel that probably, I don't even know what a percentage would be, but I'm going to say most authors are soul scribing.
I would agree.
Uh-huh. So it's
And
coming from
they
their
just aren't calling it that because
right.
that inspiration is coming from somewhere.
Right. And so if it's intuition, it's a thought that we have, it's internal. It's like, "Oh, oh yeah, yeah." But if it seems like it comes from nowhere, like someone just flipped open our head and dropped it in, that's a beautiful spirit team moment. That's a beautiful, people call it a download, whatever you call it. It's awesome. And so when I look and I read books now, I look at them in a totally different way and
I'm
say,
sure.
"Oh, heck to the yeah. This definitely, I feel like somebody definitely channeled this."
Yeah, that's amazing. And it's so fun and it's interesting, working with authors. They're such a creative bunch anyway. And I love feeling like when you're talking to them, like you just know from talking to some of them that they have that within them. It's so weird to me. Like I can look at a lot of them and that's probably their aura and I just don't know what it's called. You know what I mean? But I could look at certain people and I'm like, okay, I feel like a lot of times when I see an author, I can say, yep, I know why you write the books that you do just from looking at them. I know it sounds crazy, but
It doesn't.
I'm just like, I can see that like intuitively when I'm looking at them,
Part
and
of your gift. That's one of your gifts, is that you have that inner knowing that you're honoring and trusting, that when you see them, it's a certain vibration and that you're aligning with it and that you can feel. Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly it. Because like I could look at certain people and that help me, their authors. If I see their picture, I will be like, you write this. And then I'll see it. I'm like, yep, good deal. It's pretty fun. Like
I bet it
it's just,
is.
I've like you, I've been very intuitive my whole life, but most of my life I kind of pushed that down because I was raised very Catholic. And I mean, my father would freak out if I even read my horoscope, or if I tried to read my horoscope to him, he'd be like, oh, like it was something. And now I'm realizing that, like you said earlier, your spirit guides could be angels, they could be whatever. I still feel like in general, the world, we all know there's something else out there. The name doesn't matter. Whether it's Yahweh, Jesus, God, angels, universe, whatever it is, I just wish people would realize that we're all the same.
We are.
We
I have,
just,
it's true. I have a visual for you on that.
yeah.
Um, and I don't remember where I heard this, but it resonated so hard, so I'm going to share it with you so that maybe you'll feel the same way. So if you visualize a mountain, okay, big giant mountain, and on the mountain has lots of different paths and trails. You go hiking, and they lead to the summit. They lead to the top. And so when we take a look at whether it's God or whether it's Yahweh or whether whoever, whatever it is, we're all on this path and it's all leading to the summit. We're all leading to the same place. It's all leading us home.
Oh, oh,
You know?
yes, so much. I
So
love that.
we're all on the same mountain, even though it clearly does not feel like it sometimes.
Right? Some of us are on this side, some of us are on that side. Like you said,
Correct.
it's all different
Yep.
paths, but the summit is still the summit.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
I loved
beautiful.
that. I wish I could give credit to whoever I heard that from, but anyway, it just really felt good.
I love that too. So I know that we've been on here for a little bit, and I mean, I could talk to you for hours. You
Oh
and I are like, we have so many stories. But when I think about you doing all of this work, I mean, a couple of things come to mind. Like, I would like to know who you ultimately picture reading your book, because the reason I ask is that I feel like, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but I feel like men are not as open about using their intuition as women are. I mean, women's intuition has been called a thing for years, right? And yet I feel like so many men have that. My husband, I don't think he's ever listened to one of my podcasts, but I'm going to try to get him to listen to this one. But I feel like he is very intuitive. He has such an amazing gut reaction on things. Like we will go to do things, particularly when it comes to parenting across the years. We've gone to do things. I'm going to cry just thinking about it. And like the various schools or the daycares that we have chosen for him, we've walked out and he's been like, this is not the one, or this is the one. And he chose right every time. Every time. He's amazing. He's amazing. And, you know, he has such a huge heart anyway. He's a Leo, so he's got that big lion heart, right? But do you work with men? Do you picture men reading your book? Do we think that it's still going to be more women than men in general? Like, who do you think, resonates more with your whole
Okay.
book message, all of it?
Well, can I read you the message that I was going to read? Because I
I
think
would
that will help
love that
answer your
so much.
question. Okay.
I would
So
love that.
this
I
will
love
help
that.
answer that question. Certainly, I am inclusive and not exclusive. Anyone that
Right.
wants to read the
Absolutely.
book,
Sure.
certainly. But when this message came through, uh, it was right when I started to shift from obsessively asking things about me, like what should I do
Right.
next, and how should, and what, and like, again, it was always free will.
Oh,
And
yeah.
my spirit team writes the message come through in rhyme because I love rhyming. I've loved rhyming since I was a
Me
kid.
too.
So like 95% of what I receive is in rhyme. And I mean, sometimes it's serious and sometimes it's very like spiritual Dr. Seuss kind of a
Yes.
vibe. I joke.
Yes.
But this message came through. I want to say it was like 2019. And I didn't know what to do with it because I didn't know who it was even for. So
Okay.
so my question in my journal was, can you please give me a message for the collective today? And I just kept it broad.
Okay.
And what came through, and I'd never done this before, the song Soul Sister started,
Yeah.
it popped in my head. Hey,
I love
sister,
it.
soul.
Yeah.
Okay. That started to play in my head. And this is what I received. Dear Sue and the Soul Sisterhood, strutting your stuff, hard to refuse, your shape and your color and the brain that you use. Deep in the depths of your soul's great desires, Through all the mud and murk and mire, there is a spiraling continuum that shoots and darts and swirls,
Mm.
where men and women, boys and girls, everything on the planet lives and breathes, where we all have the knowledge to hear it and see the impact we make for eternity.
Mm.
We can be squashed, stepped on, ripped and torn, or shine bright from the hues of angelic stars. Ask, what do we want from the world we know? How can we help our souls to grow? Ripe as the fruit on the tangelo tree, ready to pluck to help us see the truth we promise to live out loud, strong and simple, gay and proud. Why deny it anymore? Allow yourself to go through the door. Push and pull with all your might. Use strength and will and hold on tight. For we have come here for all to see the light inside of you and me. We cannot hide it anymore. We cannot stay behind the door. The verse is counting on us, you see, to shift and change democracy. With heads down and
Wow.
noses in the sand, we cannot improve this precious land. Working our light together, we will see the heaven on earth promised to thee. Take your place and light your spark to help others creep out of the dark. And as they do, our feelings soar. Our lights will glow on the path through the door. Do your part and you will see improvements for eternity. In mind and body and in soul, know that it's your special role to keep and care for all these three, and then each other, naturally.
That's amazing. And to know that that came pre-COVID and pre-current
Yeah,
political
pre-current.
climate
Well, that's it.
is,
That's it. I didn't realize.
sorry, that I'm just like so touched by that. That is amazing.
I will send it to you.
I would
Or
love
actually, yeah, I'll send you a copy, and people can get a copy right through my little stand store. I didn't even know what it meant, Rebecca.
Right.
I didn't even know this was
You did it.
2019, and I'm looking and I'm going, who the heck is Sue's Soul Sisterhood anyway?
Right.
I mean, I was working different jobs at that time before COVID. I had a big community or multiple communities, but I still didn't know that people were going to be open. And I did not realize until last year who this was for.
Really?
Because in November of 2024, right before the election, I had a couple of workshops at a local spiritual gift shop. And the women in there said, would you consider starting a Facebook group so we can all stay connected beyond this workshop? Because that would be really cool to have a place where we can talk about this stuff that we can't talk about, that we're not comfortable talking about with some other people in our lives. And I said, absolutely. So I got on Facebook and I said, what am I going to call it? What am I going to call it? And then all of a sudden it was just popped right in my head. It's Sue's Soul Sisterhood. And so I got onto Facebook and I typed in Soul Sisterhood. And Spirit said, Sue's Soul Sisterhood. Put your name in there. And it was such an interesting experience. And so I started that group. And again, I know this isn't a political conversation, and my group is not a political group. It's all about humanity. Yeah. It's all about taking care of each other and loving on each other and learning, like tolerance and anyway, what happened was I started the Facebook group, invited, the first 100 people that I thought were on my friend group that would resonate, that would be interested. Didn't even know what I was going to put in there, really. And then the election happened, and no matter who you voted for, what came through me were I got a couple of different messages about how everyone was scared. So whether you wanted this person or that person,
where you stand,
people were voting, and there was some fear in that. And so I was able to receive some messages and go into that group and share that and go live. And it was very humanity, very neutral.
I love it.
Just things to consider because the climate, the climate at that moment was, it was tough because some people felt one way very strongly and other people felt other ways. And I mean,
Mm,
that hasn't really changed too much since then. Well, it's
no.
changed in a more significant way, but not in the same. So anyway, the Sioux Soul Sisterhood poem, to answer your question, the people are in my community since that time. I have a women's group that meets every Thursday in person, and I have this online free group. It's called Sioux Soul Sisterhood, and it's primarily women. I would say like 30 to 80. You
Yeah,
know,
it's one of my favorite groups, truly.
thank you.
You know how you said, the climate's just not the same, and everyone is scared. Social media itself, I think, as a collective realizes that, right? Even though, especially September was rough, right? Like so many harsh things. And then you throw in the eclipse and everything else, right? And I find myself at this point, I will open my Facebook and I will specifically click to go to your group or to the groups I went to see, because I know that I need that inspiration that is from the universe, not from Democrats, not from Republicans or anyone else. I need inspiration from what else is out there, the better thing, right? We need that inspiration right now and from each other. Like I love that group because we're all the same. It's like I tell people, and I know I've had this conversation with other people. You go on a cruise ship. If you go on a cruise, you are sitting at a table with people that you've never met before, all walks of life, all colors, all ethnicities, all religions. Y'all get along. You're sitting there. You're having wonderful conversations with each other and loving on each other for that week. Why can't we just why can't the world just be like that? You know what I mean? And it breaks my heart when I think about it because and then people get so offended by everything and no one has a sense of humor anymore, or it's just it's scary. And that's why groups like that are wonderful, because we can feel that humanity, right? And
Yeah,
even if it's just for 2 minutes while we
right.
read whatever that little post is.
Yeah, I really I appreciate that, and I do agree with you. And really, the focus of the group is to empower you. And
Yeah.
so currently, I don't know, there's about probably 400 women in there, and it is women, and it started with just women I knew. And I was having some feelings about should I invite men or not, and the feeling was like, no, it's okay. You can have this group for women or people who identify as women. But it started with only people I knew, and since then, like people like you have invited people that are like-hearted to the group.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what it is. I mean, we all have differing opinions about things, but this is a
Sure.
safe place to explore your to grow, and really my goal is to empower people, because the fact is we have yet to uncover so many of these hidden powers within us,
Yeah. I
truly.
agree.
And we're here, and a lot of us are focused on what we've been taught, and that we're not this and that we are that. And it's not about what other people are telling us we are or we aren't. It is truly about turning inward and allowing the who we are, like the part of the poem that says, um, we can be squashed, stepped on, ripped or torn, or shine bright from the hues of angelic stars, but it is all about helping our souls to grow. And why are we denying it? Allow yourself to go through the door and push and pull with all your might. Use strength and will. Hold on tight, because we have come here for all to see the light inside of you and me.
Yes.
That is it. And we can't hide it anymore. And we can't
Yes.
stay behind the door, because the universe, the verse, is counting on us to shift and change democracy. And I want to tell you, when that came through, I was so uncomfortable with it. I changed the word to
Right.
humanity. I changed it to humanity because I
I
was
didn't
so
understand
uncomfortable. And I
that.
thought, oh, and then I got a clear message that I needed to change it to democracy. And I didn't understand what that meant until now,
Yeah.
until what
Yeah.
the things that have been going on, and how things do need to look different so that we can come
Right.
together. Uh,
Right.
so,
That's
so,
beautiful.
so it needs
And
to
that's
look
a part of your book, right? Like that poem is
absolutely.
in your book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's right in there. Yep. Yep.
That is a wow. I mean, just so many feelings and thoughts and and you said am I correct in thinking that your book not only has your writing, but you have prompts in there too for other
So
people to
I do.
go
So
through it? And
I want people to be
yeah,
able to interpret it and see what comes
yeah,
through for them. So
for
I have,
them. Yeah.
so it's writing. So it might be just a few lines, or it might be something more
Hmm.
significant like this. And then there's a place for you to interpret it, but also a little thought provoking, let's go deeper if you want to
Yeah. Yeah.
prompt. Yes.
Is,
Mhm.
is that like part of the classes that you are teaching too? Like, is your book basically the textbook of your class? You know what I'm saying?
Such
And
a
the
great
workshops, and,
question.
like, is
What
that a big part? I mean, I think it would be, but
So what I've realized, so this group of women that I meet with on Thursday nights in person in New Hampshire,
yeah, I
um,
think I need to move to New Hampshire. But
ah,
anyway,
don't worry, there's something online coming in. I don't have a timeline yet, but
that's
I'm gonna say
okay.
within the next
The
six
universe will
months.
tell you.
The universe will let me know. There's going to be an
Good,
online opportunity
good.
that is going to just totally change things for many of us. So in a
Yay.
good, beautiful way.
Yes.
So when you say that, it fills my heart because part of
Yeah.
that is going to be it's
Good,
community.
good.
And so your question was, yes, I found that when I was we would be meeting, I'd be meeting with this group, and I would ask Spirit, what do we need to focus on today? What would help the
Hmm.
most of us?
Yeah.
And I would get focus on healing, or focus on smiling, or focus on, and I'm like,
Mhm.
what does that mean, focus on smiling? And so I
Right.
would write and I'd say, tell me what you mean. And I got this gorgeous, beautiful message
Oh,
about how smiling is healing. And it's so simple, and we make everything, that we not judgy, we make things a big deal. That's my words. But that, we're overlooking some of the most simplistic things because
simple.
smiling
Yeah.
is contagious,
Right.
and we have the power to heal through a smile. And I thought, oh my God. So I wrote I let the poem come through. And then the whole workshop, or the whole meeting that night, was focused in on discussion and writing and experiences about that topic. So
I
what
love
I was started doing is I would write with Spirit
it. Hmm.
and know what the focus was going to be on that particular night. I've been doing the same thing with workshops. I would say I'm going to be I want to do a workshops about spirit guides.
Yeah.
Can Let's
Totally.
write about it. And so I will get the information and then create the workshop. So it's integrated heavily. Yes, I have. I don't know if you know, I have a soul scribing society that meets once a month virtually. Did I tell you that?
Can't remember. I think I know that, but I'm just like so into all of it and so
Yeah.
overwhelmed by life, like the
Yeah.
rest of us. There's a lot of information up here, right?
So
But
much.
that is amazing, and I would love to put
Yeah.
information about that in the
Sure.
show notes too, because
Yeah.
I think that would be great for a lot of the authors I know, really. And
And it's just
most
a
of my
quick.
mailing list is authors, of course. And so I think that would be helpful. That's a great way to just doing the soul scrubbing. Not only is that good, for a person, right? Like
Mm,
just for your
right.
general soul,
Yeah.
obviously, but I think it's probably good for their business in general, regardless of what business you're in. There's all this scare about AI taking over the world and everything. And, that kind of a thing is a perfect opportunity to tap into your own brain power. So
Yeah, and it's
I
easy.
love it.
It's so what I provide in that. Um, that was an aha moment.
Yes,
I literally, well, I'll tell you real quick about my husband because you said that about yours, and I thought, oh no, they sound like they'd get along pretty well. Um,
probably.
they, so I had just finished teaching the course right from the heart, the art of soul scribing, and these women who are in there, I was like, what's next? I want to be able to offer them something next. I don't want to just
Right.
leave them
Because
dangling
they're
out
not done.
trying to figure it out, like, because we've got to, it's the practicing.
Yeah. Right.
So I was laying on the couch and my husband called and he said, "Hey, what's up? I'm just on my way home from work." And I said, "I'm just thinking about what would be a good match to support the women who just took the course." And he was like, "A support group."
Yeah.
And I went,
Basically.
"Duh." So it's
Ah,
like, "Oh my God, you're so smart."
amazing.
No, they do. And so I thought, that's exactly. So what I have created is we meet once a month, and it's just for a couple hours virtually. So it's once a month. But what I provide at the beginning of the month is I provide a bunch of different soul scrubbing prompts with a theme.
Ah,
And
okay.
so, for example, one month was align and amplify. So all of the
Ooh,
prompts were all about like what you're aligned with and what you want to amplify. And so I include those. I include different rituals that can help you get clarity on that, and a card spread that you can
perfect.
do with cards. And then so there's this, and then it's just a private chat group, and we just ask questions people can share. And that's the
Sure.
thing, it's an opportunity for people to share these gorgeous, meaningful messages, because when they feel inspired to share, it is meant for more than just them.
Yeah. Right.
And so it's such a
That's
great
beautiful.
community. And some of the women at the retreat last weekend said, "Hey, I'll see you virtually soon," because they're in the society. So
Right. I
yeah,
love that. I love
it
that.
feels really good. Yeah.
That is so fun. And my membership is mostly women. Like it's not like you said, it's not like I wouldn't let a man in there, but I don't think he'd be comfortable. I don't think he'd enjoy it. I mean, there are times we talk about girly things. And so like it's not like you aren't open, to that. But I want to make sure that I get all of those things in the link. So we'll make sure people can, find you. And you do card pulls and stuff for people. I know you do all of
I do.
that.
I
And
do. I
then
do. Yep.
you have a store with stuff that people can take a look at,
I
right?
do.
Some of these things.
Yep. So my primary at this point right now is the writing right from the heart course. The
Okay,
workshops, I do pop-up workshops. Like, I
perfect.
had a series of workshops called Spiritual Joyride that
Yes.
I will be setting up again,
Okay,
coming,
good.
yep, probably within the next month or two, I would guess. And then, oh, one of the really heartfelt things, besides the past life
Mm-hmm.
readings that I do for people, it's not a it's not a past life regression. It's literally me connecting with spirit and having spirit show me a life that supports your current life, and then receiving like a video or a movie clip of what that looks like, a
Okay,
message, and either a recipe, a tool, a technique, a strategy, or a ritual that can support your life currently now. So that's probably my one of my most popular. The another
really?
really popular thing is the loved one connections. So
Yes.
that's another thing I do one-on-one, very in small group, very uniquely. People come with a clear knowing of who they want to connect with, a question
Okay.
that they have for them, and if they have something of theirs or something that reminds them of the person. And so it's not like, does the person, name begin with a J? Like, it's not that kind of a group. Like, it's very specific. Yeah. So I do that in person, and I'm going to be starting to do that virtually as well.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's really neat. Oh my
it
gosh, I'm
is.
so excited for people to just learn more about all of this, right? And I know, like, I know we could talk for hours on this stuff, but like I said, I'm gonna share all these links and things, and I will maybe if you get a chance to send me a picture of the thing you showed us on writing diagonal, I'll include that, like with the stuff, if you want to take a screenshot of that. So, but before we close, I have to ask you a couple of really important questions. So, as a fellow woo friend, so when you're working, candle, crystal, must have playlist, what's inspiring you while you're having your own personal session? Did you see mine back there too? I have a monster one
Oh,
back
yes.
there.
And I have the light underneath. I
Yeah.
have this one, and then I
Okay.
have one at my studio.
Love it.
And the one at my studio, I have a light that changes color underneath.
Oh, my
So it's
son has
really cool.
that.
Yeah. So
He had that first.
the selenite, I shouldn't say always. The selenite I usually have around when I'm scribing, but sometimes I'm in the living room and nobody's home. I do like to have the house to myself or be by myself when I'm scribing, obviously. I say that because I just did a scribe. We did a channel panel at the retreat. And so there were four
Ooh.
of us that were channeling. And so I was doing it through scribing. And it was good because everyone else was quiet, so it came through clearly. But
Right.
usually
Right.
I'm either by myself or I'm with a client, and I'm partially doing doing their reading with them, and then saying, "Hey, hold on, I just need to write." Same thing with the loved ones. Sometimes I just need to write. So that would
I love
be,
it.
yeah. I mean, I do love a good playlist, but it's usually quiet.
Me too. I can't do any of that kind of work myself when there's noise. Like I do have, which I know you probably can't see on screen. I've got a little like display back there with some of my crystals and stuff. And then over on this other side, I have a crystal grid where I set my
Oh,
focus
nice.
and intentions each month. And then I have like a an air misty kind of thing with some essential oils in it.
Beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, and so those kinds of things inspire me, but yeah, when I have my playlist, that's part of the break out of the slump,
Mm,
do my dance party because I
yeah.
have to have the quiet. Because I can't I it's too noisy in the world already, so the quiet for me brings that inner oh, so good.
So good.
Yeah, and so that's kind of what I have to do with that. But my very last question, really important because we originally started as books and brew. What's in your cup? That's what I really
Ooh,
need to know too. Like,
what's
what's
in
in
my
your cup
cup?
while you're? I mean, and I know, like, oh, Wonder Woman and pumpkins. Cheers to that.
Love it. Woo,
Um,
yes.
can't imagine a better thing. Is it going to be coffee? Does it depend on the time of day? Like I move from coffee to water, and every now and then a little wine will travel in at night. But
So,
what's typically in your
so
cup?
right now it is French vanilla. No, I'm sorry, it's hazelnut coffee right now.
Mm,
With some
one of my
cream.
faves.
And
Yeah.
then I will shift to some water. I've got
Yep.
this all ready to rock and
Yes,
roll
ma'am.
when this is
Me
empty.
too.
And
Got to have
then,
them all together.
yeah, I know all the cups.
Right?
And then later on in the day, in the evening, it might be iced tea
Yep.
or something like that. But for the
Yeah.
most part, it's coffee and water for the most part.
Me too. Like I can't really drink, so if I have wine, it's usually just like a girlfriend thing, special occasion. I'm diabetic. It just goes right to my bloodstream, and I get crazier than I already am.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I do. I
Yeah.
do actually do tea in the afternoon. If it's in the winter, I usually do tea,
Yeah.
and it's to warm
I
up a
love
little.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to branch out and learn a little bit more about some teas at some point. I
Ugh.
like different teas. I love a lemon tea and a couple of different other ones. I have really crazy allergies to like every plant on earth. And so believe it or not, like a lot of teas really bother my stomach because of so many allergies. I know it's sad because I know there are such good blends out there, even like with candles or with my little air mister guy. If it's the wrong one, the allergies and asthma get, you know, crazy. They get crazy. But yes, I know it's nutty. I appreciate you so much being on the show. And like I said, I, anytime you want to come back and chat, let me know.
I love it.
You can tell us more about your book. We could do some sessions,
Mm.
whatever you think is cool. That would be
Well,
great.
that would be great because there's some big things coming, and I'm in collaboration with a few other people. So when that's one of the things that I was saying is coming. So that'll be fun. The book is coming. Um, the book is going to be, again, I don't have the exact date, but you bet you'll be one of the first people that knows.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so
So
much.
yeah, I would love to come back. There's so much to talk about. I mean,
Okay.
honestly, when you just brought
I
up
love it.
allergies, I was like, ooh, there's a cool conversation we could have about mind body connection.
Really? Ooh, I love that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much.
Tired of drowning in marketing tasks? Stressed about book launches and social media? You're not alone. The Authors Allies Roundtable Done With You marketing membership is your escape. Join a community of authors who understand. Learn proven strategies for creating captivating media kits, running successful ad campaigns, and hosting unforgettable book launches. Weekly meetings, also recorded for your convenience, cover everything from email, marketing, and social media mastery to in-person event planning. Plus, access a treasure trove of worksheets, templates, and resources designed to simplify your marketing efforts. Stop trading precious writing time for marketing madness. The Authors Allies Roundtable is your path to stress-free, profitable writing. Visit www.authorsallies.com to learn more and join today.
That's all for this episode of Authors Allies. We hope you enjoyed our exploration of the literary world. Be sure to stay tuned for our next episode where we'll have more fascinating interviews, book reviews, and marketing tips. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Leave us a review and share us with a friend. To get your free copy of our ebook, 10 steps to your ultimate book marketing plan, be sure to head over to our show notes. Until next time, happy reading and writing.